We're lower on Matthew Golden than the consensus. Doesn't mean we hate him, but let's discuss Matthew Golden's skill set.
Yeah, I mean, I like Matthew Golden. I just don't think he's an elite first round talent. And I think I don't know. So it's tough to figure out because he was showing up in first round mock drafts before he ran this 4.29 at the combine. So I don't think you can say, well, the 4.29 is the only thing keep putting him up there because it was happening already. I do think though that there's simply no way he runs a 4.29. I think that is a fake number, whether it's an error in the timing, whether it's like his arm swung early and triggered the laser at the tape instead of his chest. Something happened. That 4.29, I just don't think is a real number. Literally everybody, I've yet to see anybody say that he plays like a 4.29 receiver. None of the tracking data says he plays like a 4.29 receiver. The miles per hour stuff at the combine doesn't say he runs a 4.29 either. Like literally nothing other than the fact that it was a number that measured on a timing thing somewhere, which is still ultimately a fairly janky system because it's, something's got to move to trigger it. Something happened. I think he's a 4.4 flat receiver, right? Which is fine, but is no longer special. It's just like, that's what you expect for a decent leveled prospect. But his route running, so it's not like his speed is not his selling point, really. His route running is a selling point, and he's good at that. He's a really good route runner. He likes to vary his pace and timing and routes rather than, just running everything at full speed. He's got good body control, a good catch radius, pretty good reaction to off-target throws. I think some inconsistent hands, but they're not bad. To me, like his best work is at that intermediate level. Like he's that classic Z receiver where he can cook at the intermediate level. His route running is really strong. He's sort of good at everything. He tracks the ball pretty well. Was very good at both tracking the ball and the contested catches last year. And I do think it's worth noting he was a different player at Texas than he was at Houston. Like he was notably better for the Longhorns than he was previously. But yeah, I think he's good. I just don't see this, the people that are kind of putting him out there as wide receiver 1. I don't really see that in his game.
Our friend Drake Holiday in the chat says, watch the game winner against Temple. This was 2022. I'm going to fire it up. I'm firing it up right now. That's where he looks like he's 4.29. I'd say, yeah, I mean, he looks pretty fast. I wouldn't say 4.29. I think that's a coverage bust more than anything. But yeah, he looks fast. I mean, he looks fast there. But I'm with
4.4 is fast. It's just not 4.29.
It is. It's not like 4.29. You feel it, right? When you watch, I think Xavier Worthy is game fast. Xavier Worthy feels game fast. You feel that speed. That same question I fielded on the Jalen Knoll discussion, right? Which was like, hey, just because he ran 4.39, does that change your perception of him? I said, no, I feel the speed when watching him. I've never felt the speed watching Matthew Golden.
I mean, there aren't many situations where this would be true for a time speed, but if you put him and his teammate Isaiah Bond, who remember was talking about breaking the 40 record and then ran a 4.3 or whatever it was, or a 4.4. No, he ran a 4.4 flat.
4.49, I believe. Was his?
I think his got downgraded to the 4.39. So I think they're literally a tenth apart, but with Golden being the faster guy. If you put him in pads, in Lycra, in whatever you want, if you lined Matthew Golden and Isaiah Bond up right now and had them race a 40 in whatever way you want to do it, I would bet good money that Bond wins that race every single time. And yet Golden was the guy that tested faster. I just don't believe that number.
Hey guys, just taking a quick break to tell you, hey, just over 50% of you are still unsubscribed to Check the Mic. It helps the channel. It helps to make sure that you don't miss any of our shows. So if you have a chance, hit the subscribe button right now. Yeah, I thought Bond looked faster than Matthew Golden. Look, I think he's solid at everything, right? I mean, my note was it feels like a Romeo Doubs type, a guy that intermediate level that you described. I think he's got some really slick routes. And we've said on this show before, you could take this one of two ways. If you didn't think he was all that fast, but you like his route running, you could convince yourself, oh man, he's also got this juice too. He's also got this 4.29 juice, right, and he's a good route runner. Like combine that thing. John Ross ran 4.2, but he didn't have all of the other nuanced receiver ability that a Matthew Golden has. Therefore, it's great. Or you could say, I don't really believe the time. He is what he is. He's not he's not necessarily a deep threat type with that speed, but he's a good intermediate route runner. He's pretty good at a lot of different things, catches the ball all right, in and out of breaks, does a lot of things well. And by the way, he's got some juice too. That's great. But that's just where I think he is, which is somewhere in the receiver 6 to 10 thing. I think some of the other guys that ran slower at the combine have better all around skills, package of skills that I'm more intrigued by.
Yeah, it's a similar conversation to the Ibuka one, albeit sort of different players, different body types, et cetera. I mean, Golden's 5'11", 191. But the point is, I think they're both complementary pieces to an offense. I don't think either one of them is a true wide receiver one in an offense in the NFL. I don't think either one of them is wide receiver one in this draft class. And the question is, how do you value that? Now, I think Golden's route running is really, really nice. But I do think like he was getting better. He's sort of almost like wide receiver Will Howard, where he was getting better the whole way. He was finished on top. Like his best games were late in the year, in the playoffs, Georgia, all these kinds of things. And that I think there's probably some signal to that. Like that's probably a relevant thing. But I don't think that he's going to be that dominant force at the NFL level.
Yeah, I'm similar. I mean, I see what you're saying. I mean, he's peaking at the right time, had some big games down the stretch, did it at a time when people were talking about Isaiah Bond as the better player. I think we'll mention Bond at some point later in the show. There's stuff to break down there, but yeah, Golden I think is he's a good all around receiver. I'm having a tough time putting him because he's on the consensus board right now at just behind Tedero and McMillan, right? Wide receiver 3 if you include Travis Hunter. I'm having a tough time putting him ahead of a guy like Luther. Obviously, I didn't. Luther Burden or even a Jaden Higgins or these other guys that I think bring different skill sets to the table.
Yeah, agreed. And even just within that Texas offense, like when they were both healthy earlier in the season, I think you can make the case that Bond was the go-to guy, not Golden, right? And obviously that changed later in the year, but Bond got hurt and he wasn't the same player. And then it was late in the year when Golden really took over and took off and had those monster numbers and those kinds of things. But even then, again, it's like, does his speed show up on tape? Despite the fact that he went off for huge numbers against Georgia, the Georgia cornerbacks were not at all scared by Matthew Golden's speed. They were like, they had no interest in, jamming him, trying to disrupt him. They just let him release and ran with him. They weren't scared of, like, I watched the Georgia corner give up outside leverage, play trail technique, and just jog with him. And it wasn't a problem. Like he was not at all worried about, oh, dude, if this guy's got 4.29 speed, I'm in trouble if I don't get hands on him at the line. He was just like, no, I can run with him. It's cool.
Yeah. And look, Bond, the first couple times you watch Bond, you're like, okay, that guy just moves differently. I think Golden, when you watch him, it's like, okay, he's in and out of breaks pretty smoothly and better than a lot of other guys in this class. To me, it's the in and out of breaks that Golden does extremely well. Not so much anything from a straight line, take the top off the defense standpoint. So he's a good receiver. Look, we could be wrong. We could be wrong on this. I mean, we don't hate him. We both have him. I have him at 8. You have him at 7. Just don't have him. We're not as high on him as others. I think he's pretty good at a lot of receiver things.
Yeah. Again, trying to sort of reinforce that point that, like, even though it sounds as an overall negative, because we're like, why is he not wide receiver 2 in this draft class? We both like the guy. He's in the top 10 of a draft class, which is itself impressive. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.